Hello everyone! This is kind of a catch-all video, wrapping up a couple things from last year. First, I wanted to share some thoughts on the last books that I read in 2021. I managed to squeeze these in before the year ended, bringing my total number of books read up to 30, which is not bad. For some people, that's a lot. My goal is 50 every year, and I didn't make that, but that's okay. Try again this year. First book we're going to take a look at is The Trouble with Tribbles, the birth, sale, and final production of one episode by David Gerrold, which is all about the making of that one famous episode of Star Trek the Original Series, The Trouble with Tribbles, by the writer himself. I actually have two of these, this first edition and this later edition, which a certain someone got autographed for me. With two copies, I wasn't sure which one to read, but I ended up reading this one, and then immediately after going through this one to see what changes had been made in the later printing, because that's a fun way to spend an afternoon if you're me. It makes for quite an entertaining read, even for a more casual Star Trek fan, thanks to Gerrold's conversational and humorously self-deprecating style. I learned a lot I didn't know before about the episode, about Star Trek, and about how a TV show was produced back in the day. While some of the background information about how a TV show is developed is dated now, it's still interesting to learn about the process, how an idea germinates into a full-blown script and then goes through major and minor changes between drafts, and all the drafts are included, or just about all of the drafts. There's so much reasoning and effort put into it every step of the way. It's very impressive just how much thought they gave to every little detail. And the coolest thing is how some of the biggest elements weren't even originally part of the story, but the ideas came along the way, and those ideas transformed the whole picture from good to great. So I really enjoyed reading this. It was diverting and informative, and I also was not expecting him to include Georgette Heyer novels when defining fandom. That was just a random little moment towards the end that I was like, wait a minute, what? Okay. The next book is a small one, a skinny hardcover that's only 58 pages long and took about half an hour to read. It's The Snow Goose by Paul Gallico. Paul Gallico wrote the novel that The Poseidon Adventure is based on. I intend to read that, hopefully soonish, but in the process of seeing if my library had The Poseidon Adventure, I found a few other shorter books, and I looked them up, and I ended up putting them on my reading list too. And I guess I ordered this one because I thought maybe it would be appropriate for the holiday season. The Snow Goose, you know, you get the direction my mind was going in. I'm really glad that I read it. The Snow Goose is a lovely, sad English tale of a lonely, deformed man who lives at a lighthouse, and a fearful girl who brings an injured goose to him for healing. I'm not going to say any more because, well, it's so short, and it's best if you just read it, but I really enjoyed it, and I loved the direction it took. It has a war tie-in. I loved the writing, the characters, the relationship, the gentle unfolding of the narrative. It felt like I was being told a folk tale. The ending was bittersweet and beautifully done. So because I had such a favorable experience, I ordered up another Gallico story, which is on its way to me as we speak and should arrive this weekend. Book number 3 was Our Darkest Night by Jennifer Robson, and it was very good. A young Jewish-Italian woman living in Venice is sent away by her father to pose as the wife of a Gentile farmer to escape arrest by the Nazis. She is reluctant to leave her parents, with whom she has a strong bond. Her father has been secretly teaching her medicine, and her mother, who recently suffered a stroke, is dependent on her. This makes her involuntary separation even more heartbreaking. But the stranger who takes her away couldn't be kinder and more thoughtful, and the relationship that develops between them is sweet, as is the relationship that develops between the main character and her new family, who are unaware of her true identity. Things do get very dark, as the title promises. It's called Our Darkest Night for a reason. There were things that were shocking and not a little depressing, but Robson handles the story well. I was satisfied with how things went, and I appreciated the information at the end where she explains how much of the story was based on truth. Number 4 is RUR, or Rossum's Universal Robots, or in its original language, Rosumovi Universalni Roboti, a play by Czech writer Karl Kopek. I hope I said all of that right. This play, published in 1920, is famous for popularizing the term robot, and that's why I read it. That's how it came on my radar, and I looked briefly at what it was about, and I said, yep, gotta read that. This is the edition of it that I got, which has both RUR and the insect play, which I did not choose to read, and I don't know why it's showing up as a yucky green when in real life it's like a burnt orange, but whatever. RUR has a very good concept, one that the science fiction genre has since explored many times over, having to do with the consequences of mass-producing robots, the question of how much humanity artificial intelligence is capable of having, and how synthetic humans should be treated, and what may happen to the human race if they are mistreated. It's all very intriguing stuff, and the fact that this came out back in 1920 is even more astonishing. The play has a lot to handle in 3 acts and an epilogue, though, and I didn't find it to be a smooth read. Some choppiness in the dialogue may be the result of age or of translation. It says that this was translated from the Czech by Paul Selver, but the play covers such a broad span of time and events, huge events, while keeping the focus on this handful of characters who, for the most part, are just talking amongst themselves and reacting to things that happen off stage. The play was a big hit and enjoyed international success, but I have trouble envisioning it for the stage. The plot, I think, would be better executed in a full-length novel or film. Unfortunately, there are full-length novels and films, tons of them, that explore and expand on the ideas introduced in this play, so one doesn't have to wonder. Number 5 was another ebook, Tweet Cute by Emma Lord, a young adult novel about 2 prep school seniors in New York City who become the center of a viral Twitter war on behalf of their family businesses while becoming friends and maybe something more in real life. It's a very cute romance, but it also has a lot of character development that goes in depth about the struggles kids have finding their place in their family and in the real world, the adult world, matching personal aspirations with family expectations, enduring sibling rivalry or preferential treatment, the awkwardness of an amicable divorce, or realizing that your esteemed parent is in the wrong about something. There's some heavy stuff for what outwardly appears to be a fluffy teen romance. I especially like how it exposes the the mad frenzy of social media and the danger of letting Twitter decide things and run your life, because I think that's a lesson that more people should learn. I hate Twitter. I hate that I have a Twitter account, and I actually am planning to delete it. I was never happy with it, and I haven't gone on there in over a year, so I certainly won't miss it. I have had some positive interactions with people on Twitter, but with few exceptions, Twitter is a bottomless pit of ugliness, and I think everyone would be better off without it. And book number 6 is They Came from Outer Space, 12 classic science fiction tales that became major motion pictures, edited by Jim Wynorski, B-movie writer, director, and producer, most famous for 1986's sci-fi slasher Chopping Mall. Originally, I added this to my list for one story in particular, but months later, when I finally ordered it, I'd completely forgotten which story that was. I think it might have been The Sentinel by Arthur C. Clarke, but I'm not 100% sure. I only planned to read a couple stories here, but after reading 3 or 4, things were going so well that I ended up reading the whole thing, including 2 stories that I had read a few years ago, which I had had kind of indifferent reactions to, which I ended up liking much better the second time around. I didn't go in order. I jumped around choosing stories based on title or based on length because I wanted to be able to read the whole story in one sitting. A few of the stories are great, a few are really good. There's just one story I didn't like at all, and the rest were decent. So all told, it's a very good collection. And by the way, it does have pictures included from the various films. So that's cool. I was going to share a few thoughts on each of the 12 stories and how I think they compare to the films if I've seen them. But since I'm trying to keep this video on the shorter side, I think I'll hold off and maybe do that in a separate video. Guess what? I already filmed it! So these are the books I was reading in December. All in all, a satisfying selection to help bring 2021 to a close. I also thought you might like to see some things I got for Christmas. I got 2 books by John G. Fuller. If you've been watching these reading videos for the past couple of years, you know that I really like John G. Fuller's nonfiction books. I have raved a couple of times about Incident at Exeter, and then I read The Interrupted Journey, and I really enjoyed The Poison That Fell from the Sky and The Day of St. Anthony's Fire. So what I got for Christmas are Fever, The Hunt for a New Killer Virus. I expect that to make me feel nauseous. I think it's kind of Ebola-like. We'll see how it ties in. And The Day We Bombed Utah, which is about atomic testing, and I think it's going to tie into yes, it ties into the making of The Conqueror, that very controversial film where a shocking number of the cast and crew ended up getting cancer and dying. So those are going to be probably not really fun reads, but I have high expectations from John G. Fuller at this point. I got this little owl. It's a Jim Shore owl. When my mom said that, I guess I was supposed to say, "Ooh, wow," but if I know what the Jim Shore brand is, I forgot. But here's this little, I think, hand-carved and painted barn owl. It's very cute and pretty, and I'm not sure that it would be a good decoration for here, because actually, it does show up. So you can keep an eye out for this little guy in future videos. For several years, my family has given me owl things at Christmas. For the past 2 Christmases, there have been owl things, but also sea otter things, because I never mention it anymore, but I still am very much involved in what goes on with Joey the sea otter and his friends at the Vancouver Aquarium. But my family has also tried to include some Godzilla stuff under the tree for the last couple years, and my brother got me 2 things this year. He got me this, coffee table book, The Art of Godzilla, King of the Monsters, which is very impressive. I can't even show the whole thing. Yeah, it's got photographs, but also conceptual artwork. Oh wow, this makes for a good show and tell, doesn't it? Here are sketches and I guess different renderings for when they were trying to figure out what Rodan was gonna look like. So it's stuff like that. There's also character profiles, and it's really all about this is ridiculous. It's really all about the artwork. If you, like me, found the visuals of Godzilla King of the Monsters to be the main highlight, well, for me it was the music and the visuals, then this is a really cool thing. And it was not on my radar at all. I didn't even know that such a thing existed, and my brother found it and was like, "You like this, right?" So this is the same brother who got me the Godzilla blanket, which, yes, I do use. But he also found me this, which is an awesome little thing. It's a little knick-knacky Godzilla thing, and I couldn't figure out what on earth it was based on the packaging. It says some mystifying things on it, like, put in a coin, wood ringing different music, hurry up to collect more gold coins, Mischief Sacing Bank. So I was like, I'm so excited! What is it? But then when I saw it in operation, it was amazing. So here's a clip showing you what it does. Pretty cool, huh? So that's some stuff I got for Christmas, and some stuff that I've read lately. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that maybe you got a book recommendation or 2 out of it. Please go ahead and share what you think in the comments below of any of the books, or of any of the other stuff that I showed you, and I'll be back later. Thanks for watching.